Hello and welcome to my review of Doctor No, the very first official film in the James Bond franchise. Doctor No is the first film in the long-running James Bond franchise. Now, as a first film, it does a lot of things right. Sean Connery as James Bond is perfect, and in my opinion, Sean Connery just is James Bond. If you ask me who James Bond is, well, I'm going to say to you, it's Sean Connery. Sean Connery oozes the cool whenever he's on screen. He plays it with the suave and sophistication that the Bond of the books had, while also making it his own in his own right. And I've been watching reviews of a guy called Dutch Bond fan who reviews Bond stuff, and when he talks about Connery is the one person who you don't have to sit there and believe that he's this cool man. He on screen he presents himself as this man that you want to be, this really cool person, and it's just amazing how he manages to do it. In terms of standout scenes, there's the iconic first uttering of Bond, James Bond. That's easily the best scene in the whole movie, as well as the cold kill of Professor Dent, which I adore. That scene, it's brilliant. The way he lets Dent pick up the gun, like he knows it's empty, so he's just ignoring Dent, and Dent thinks, he's on top of it because he's trying to get the gun. It's just how he manages to do that, and how he actually just is brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. And of course, there's the Bond Moneypenny scene, which is always wonderful. Sean Connery and Lois Maxwell have a brilliant chemistry, and it's just so brilliant. Obviously, I feel like those two had the best chemistry out of any of the Bond and Moneypennies, and I think it's just amazing how that throughout all of Connery's films, that one scene has always been absolutely brilliant. And of course, let's not forget the beautiful scene of the gorgeous Honey Rider, played by Ursula Andress, stepping out of the sea and singing "Underneath the Mango Tree," which it's a very iconic scene, and it's just brilliant to see that. I mean, Ursula Andress was and still is incredibly hot, so it's just a wonderful scene, and it's just as iconic as James Bond, and anything else in the franchise. Performance-wise, we have Joseph Wyman, who makes, as Doctor No, makes a brilliant, if not underrated, first villain of the franchise, and Jack Lord as CIA agent Felix Leiter. He's always one of the better parts of this film, and he's easily one of the better Felixes we've seen, because Felix as a character has always been, like, from 1962 to 1989, he has always been recast in every film he's in Doctor No, he was Jack Lord in Golfing, he was Sec Linder in Thunderball, he was Rick Van Nutter in Diamonds Are Forever, he was Norman Burton in Live and Let Die, he was David Hedison in Living Daylights, he was John Terry, and in License he was David Hedison. Yeah, again, and I think that out of all of those actors, David Hedison is definitely the best one. But then shortly underneath that is Jack Lord, who I really think should have come back for Goldfinger, and it would have been absolutely brilliant. I think Jack Lord is one of the best Felixes that's ever been on screen, and it's one of the things that when I think about Goldfinger, it's one of the weaknesses of Goldfinger as a film is that the um the Felix in that film is not the best, but we go with what we got. So yeah, they work on that as the series goes on. But yeah, music wise, we're not quite there yet. Monty Norman's score is not the best, but it has its moments. There are some memorable cues here and there, but they're few and far between. Some good cues. I like the use in certain scenes where more not tense scenes, but the slow sort of version of the Bond theme they uses in certain parts. And other composers done that sort of really slower, not slow, but sort of just quieter version of it. And most of the composers, including the Legend of John Barry, is big bombastic. It's dun 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 dun. Well, it's here it's just like dun 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 dun. It's just brilliant. It's just that's the best part of the score. There's some other scenes that have some good like little cues, but it's really not the best. Of course, you can't talk about music for this film without talking about the standout piece, the James Bond theme, which is iconic in its own right. It made its debut here, and it's also been the subject of lots of interesting cases and court cases and other times because of the fight between Barry and Norman. It's going for quite a long time. Who actually owns that piece? But in my opinion, you can quite clearly tell that it's not a Barry-made piece. It's clearly in the same vein as the Doctor Who theme, whereas Norman wrote the theme and Barry orchestrated it, much like with Doctor Who theme. Ron Granier wrote the theme and Daily Derbyshire just orchestrated it. It's that kind of thing. But I think what was with Doctor Who is very much appreciated that the two of them both made what that theme is, and there was no fight between the two of them. Granier was actually quite amazed when he found out but between Barry and Norman is just a very sort of hostile sort of I made this theme, no you did, when it's clear that from what Norman said in interviews that it is him that made that piece of music. He wrote it from an old stage play, and you then used I don't think it was ever made, but yeah, it's an interesting thing. to just think about. I'd also like to mention Jump Up and Kings and Calypso, two songs that feature in the film, performed by Baron Lee and the Dragonaires, which, upon recent listening, I found quite enjoyable. To wrap this up, Doctor No is an admirable start to kick things off for James Bond on the big screen, although the best is still yet to come. And I think in terms of starts, it is actually one of the films that when I've been going back and watching it as a personal, I used to think it was just boring and drab and I hated it and it's one of the worst films in the franchise. But as I've gone on to, as I've grown older, I know that's bad because I'm only, as I've gotten on and I've rewatched the films multiple more times, I see that it's actually really it's a good attempt at making a Bond film, and I think that it only needs a few improvements to really, like, obviously the budget reason, it was only $1 million budget, so, but I feel like as a first attempt it's actually quite a decent attempt, and obviously the following films would then generate it gets better constantly from this point onwards until 1965, where we'll talk about that when we get to the Thunderball review. But yeah, this has been my review for Doctor No. Don't forget to check out the Letterboxd my actual Letterboxd review in the description, which I've basically, when doing this review, I've read off of that, but also added an extra bits here and there to just make it flow more nice, instead of just me reading off the script. So yeah, go check that. That's in the link in the description. Go hit the link tree in the description. That's got all my socials: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Twitter. No, I don't use Facebook. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, my Spotify profile, all of that lovely stuff. Yeah, it's got my YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Discord server, Twitch, SoundCloud, Letterboxd, Spotify, Steam, Xbox, and my account. So go check that down in the description. And wonderful day, guys, and check back tomorrow for my From Russia with Love review. If you want to, all these reviews I'm doing on the YouTube channel, they're already up as of the time of recording. Every single review from Casino Royale 1954 to Thunderball 1965 is already up on my Letterboxd page. If you want to go check them out, please do. But I'm going to start recording them and putting them up on the YouTube channel. So yeah, thanks for listening, and goodbye.